Hey there, lady. I'm Molly Connolly, your coach and hype woman on this journey to transforming your love life. Whether you're navigating life after divorce, exploring the world of online dating, or deepening the connection in your committed relationship, I'm here for you. Why me? Because I walked this path myself. From filing for divorce just 3 years into marriage, to swimming in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and finally marrying the man of my spreadsheet dreams right before the world changed forever. I've seen it all. As a relationship coach, I empower women to create love lives filled with clarity, connection, and confidence. This podcast is all about building a strong foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and your future partner. I believe the man of your spreadsheet dreams is worth the wait, and together we'll ensure that you are ready for him when he arrives. Join me each week as we dive into insightful discussions and hear from savvy guests. You'll gain the courage to break free from limiting beliefs, recognize and change patterns that are holding you back, and learn to prioritize the number one relationship in your life, the one you have with yourself. So let's embark on this exciting journey together. Welcome to Reinventing the Arena.
Why, hello there, lady. Welcome back to the podcast. If you've never stopped by the show, I am so glad that you are here. Today, I want to dive headfirst into a topic a client brought up in one of her sessions, which is, what does it mean to date authentically? So if you are single, you know how overwhelming dating can be. Everything from what you put on a dating profile and how to find someone in real life, to even what to wear and what questions to ask. If you are currently feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, or exhausted trying to date, trying to find your person, you are blocking your authentic self. Somewhere along the way, you were told not to be yourself, whether that was by society or by someone who is close to you, and it can be numerous things. And when you agree to those external beliefs to not be yourself for whatever reason, you're putting on a mask, blocking who you truly are. These external beliefs from others are layering on top of themselves, layering on top of your greatness, on top of your beauty, on top of your uniqueness, your true essence. So those layers block everything from your values, how you want to give and receive love, and how you express yourself, and honestly, so much more. Now, the layers can act as a protective shield to keep you from getting hurt, especially when you've been hurt by others in the past. Which is why, for most people, they continue to live a life showing up wearing a mask, hiding themselves from their own greatness. Removing these layers takes resources of time, effort, and energy, as well as giving yourself much needed love, grace, and patience throughout that process. So some layers are easier to remove than others. The layers that have been ingrained in us or have been with us for multiple years are going to be harder to remove. Scientifically speaking, these are neural pathways that are firing automatically due to the repetition over time. So think of it as a path that's worn from people walking on it or even animals. And that path is worn enough that there's no trees or plants on the path. They're just more on the side. And even water has eroded the path even more, making it deeper and more noticeable. So becoming aware of these deeply created neural pathways is one way of creating new paths, new habits, and new ways of showing your true self to others. When you think of your past dates or even your past relationships, where did you put on your mask? Where did the layers show up and how did they show up? Also, what moments did you show up as your authentic self in past dates and relationships? So how did that impact your experience? Reflect on these moments and write them down to return to as needed. You may even notice the mask you put on was to protect you from answering certain questions or participating in a social setting. So ask yourself, what were you protecting yourself from in those moments? Start uncovering what the layers are and what they are doing for you. Bring them into your awareness because Only then can you start making changes. So let me give you a personal example. I have a loud laugh, and sometimes it's hard for me to hold it back, especially when I find something truly hilarious. More than likely, you've heard it when Brad or a guest has been on the show. So, multiple times in my life, I was told to be quiet, to tone it down, to hold back my laughter by numerous people. So much so, it affected how, and it still does show how I show up today, like how I smile, how I engage with friends and family members. It is in a deeply ingrained path that I'm continuing to work on so I can show up as my authentic self to those around me, including my clients, and including being on the podcast and social media. So, in fact, I let my laugh fly recently. Brad had taken me out for my birthday, and little did I know there was this sparkler coming to our table with donuts. It was such a surprise and lovely moment. I could not help but laugh. Obviously, the sparkler and the laugh drew attention to us and our table, but I didn't want to hold back my joy in the moment. Plus, Brad loves my laugh and he loves seeing me happy. He knows my authentic laugh and my authentic self, even when it can be difficult for me to express it. This is why dating authentically, showing up as your authentic self, is so important to creating a connection between two people. It builds trust. It makes you feel safe and secure, which are the basic building blocks to a long-term relationship. So, how can you start dating authentically? Well, there's many ways to get started, but let's start with dating profiles. Typically, I don't give advice or coach around online profiles, but I do get questions about them often. So first, make sure your photos are current. No one wants to meet for a first date and is able to recognize a person. It completely breaks down any trust that was gained through that online conversation. Oh, and make sure your profile photo is just you. No exes with their heads shutting out, no friends, no family members, and honestly, not even pets. Just focus on you. Second, put what you're looking for in your profile. If you're looking for a committed relationship, put that on there, select it. I know both men and women that have told me that they have it on their profile and they end up going on a date with someone who says they want the same thing. Then next thing you know, they say they don't. In next week's episode, I'm going to talk about showing up authentically and quote unquote rejection, but realize this is saving you a lot of time, a lot of your resources, allowing you to learn from that experience and pivot to the next opportunity. Sticking to what you want will lead you to the person who wants the same thing and enjoys your authenticity. And lastly, show your interests. Don't just list them. If you are into reading, get creative. Ask your friend to go with you to a coffee shop where there's a lot of books and take photos of you there. Like, you don't have to have it staged where you're smiling at the camera, but you could just be reading in a comfy chair. If you're active, like cycling, take a photo of you after you biked a certain distance. The more you show your authentic self in a variety areas of your life, whether you're wearing makeup or not, gives someone a sense of how well-rounded you are and comfortable you are with yourself, which is extremely attractive and important when you're being your authentic self. Now that we have your profile down, let's go deeper into self. Knowing your values is extremely important as they can guide you towards and away from what you want. Know how they show up in your life and how you express them in all areas of your life. Honestly, this can take some experimentation and time to reflect. You will start to see your values reflected in others. Take note of these moments because you'll notice the variety of ways they show up in other people. Next, learning how to show your emotions genuinely is also showing your authentic self. Communicating them is the biggest hurdle I see for my clients. So whether you're scared to show your emotions or maybe you felt like you reacted instead of responding in the past, know that it takes practice. Before I met Brad, showing my emotions was difficult because I didn't want to engage in that power struggle. If I showed I cared too much in the beginning, most men would run away, which is a typical anxious and avoidant attachment style sort of relationship. So I started to hold out by suppressing my emotions and my feelings. Sometimes this drew men towards me as a challenge, but would disengage from the conversation or the relationship if I started to show interest or emotion. Eventually, showing up authentically led me to being vulnerable. I would respond openly with my thoughts and emotions, and sometimes this made people feel uncomfortable. Sometimes this made people shut down and end conversations. And other times it led to highly engaging conversations, which in turn gave me more information about the person, about who they were, and if I was interested in having a relationship with them in the long run. Majority of those conversations didn't lead to a long-term relationship, but one of them did. Last but not least, gaining clarity around the life you want will lead you to a life most people aren't living. If you're single and feeling the pressure to settle down from others or society in general, this is for you. Showing up authentically when dating means accepting where you are in your love life. It's not where you thought it would be, and that's great. It's a new adventure. It's a new chapter waiting to be written by you and your future partner. So I remember looking around at coworkers, friends, family members, wishing I had a relationship, someone to have dinner with, someone to sleep next to each and every night. I was stuck in comparison traps, and I only saw what I wanted to see in those relationships. Real relationships take work, and they take teamwork. And by authentically accepting where you're at and embracing it, you'll actually have fun living it. You'll bring that energy into your next relationship too. Plus, when you're accepting of where you are, you start to love different parts of yourself, even the ones you really didn't care for in the past. Now, if this sounds daunting, I completely understand because dating with authenticity does take work and it does take practice. But I believe that you can do this. You can start small and start showing up differently, making new choices for yourself. Always know that you have options in your dating life, in your love life, and how you want to work on them. And that includes, the different services that I have for women like you. I'll include a link in the show notes with the services like a reinvention session, the Man of Your Spreadsheet Dreams course, and one-on-one coaching. If you loved this episode, browse through previous episodes to hear more about authenticity and the correlation between love and relationships. Review episodes about self-sabotaging behaviors as well, as they block you showing up from your full self. Over the next several episodes, I will be discussing authenticity paired with a topic like rejection, communication, manifestation, and energetics. All right, lady, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will chat with you again soon.
Thank you for joining me on the Reinventing the Arena podcast. I'm your host, Molly Connolly, a relationship coach devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives. Tap the subscribe button so you never miss out on an episode. You can always find me on Instagram at Reinventing the Arena or learn more from me on my website at reinventingthearena.com.